Hi, I'm Nathan. 12 years of marriage, and this is how it ends. With a stranger in an expensive suit standing on my doorstep, manila envelope extended like some kind of peace offering. Nathan Crawford? The man's voice was professionally detached. I'm representing Melissa Crawford in divorce proceedings. These are the initial filings. I accepted the envelope with numb fingers. Divorce papers? Melissa sent you with divorce papers? Yes, sir. She's filed for dissolution of marriage. His expression remained carefully neutral, a practiced mask. My name is James Harrington. I'm your wife's attorney. I stared at the envelope for a long moment, my mind racing backward through recent months. Melissa's late nights at the office, the new clothes, the sudden interest in privacy, the way she guarded her phone. Is there anything else, Mr. Harrington? I managed to keep my voice steady. That's all for now. He handed me his business card. My contact information, the documents explain the next steps. The door had barely closed when my phone rang. It was my best friend, Derek. Hey, Nate, we still on for golf Saturday? His voice was casual, normal, a stark contrast to the bomb that had just detonated in my living room. Derek, Melissa just had divorce papers delivered to me, by her lawyer. The words felt foreign in my mouth. What? Are you serious? The shock in his voice mirrored my own. Man, I'm coming over, don't move. 20 minutes later, Derek was pacing my living room while I sat with the unopened envelope. Did you have any idea? Derek asked, running a hand through his hair. Any clue at all? Some signs, maybe. Working late, being secretive with her phone, but divorce without even talking to me first? I finally tore open the envelope and skimmed the cold legal language. She's citing irreconcilable differences. Classic. What are you going to do? Derek stopped pacing to look at me directly. I don't know yet. I set the papers down. But something doesn't add up. Why now? Why like this? My phone buzzed with a text. It was from Rachel, our mutual friend who worked with Melissa. Nathan, I just heard. Can we talk? There's something you should know. Derek read the message over my shoulder. You should meet her. Rachel's always had your back. You think she knows something? I asked, already typing a response to meet at the coffee shop down the street. I think Melissa wouldn't file for divorce out of nowhere, Derek said, his expression darkening. And Rachel's been acting weird lately when I've mentioned you two. At the coffee shop, Rachel was already waiting, nervously shredding a napkin. Her eyes were red-rimmed. Nathan, I'm so sorry, she began, her voice trembling. I should have told you sooner, but I wasn't sure, and then I thought maybe it would blow over, and Melissa is my friend too, and Rachel, I interrupted gently. What's going on? She took a deep breath. Melissa's been having an affair with her boss, Robert, for months now. The world seemed to tilt slightly on its axis. How do you know? I've seen them together. Rachel couldn't meet my eyes. And she's been moving money too, large amounts from your joint accounts into a private one. She told me she was preparing for her future. Derek swore under his breath. She said that? I asked, my mind already shifting from shock to something else, something colder. Those exact words? Rachel nodded miserably. There's more. She's been documenting supposed problems in your marriage, creating a narrative. She even told me once that she was… Rachel hesitated. Tell me, I insisted. She said she was building a case for why she deserves everything in the divorce. Rachel's voice dropped to a whisper. Everything, Nathan. The next morning, I called in sick to work and met with Patricia Chen, a divorce attorney Derek recommended. Her office was smaller than I expected, but her reputation was formidable. So your wife has already filed, Patricia said, reviewing the papers I'd brought. And you had no warning? None that I recognized as divorce preparation, I replied, but I've learned she's been planning this for some time. Patricia's eyes narrowed. Tell me everything you know. I recounted what Rachel had told me about the affair and the money transfers. Patricia took detailed notes, occasionally interrupting with sharp questions. When did you last check your financial accounts? She asked. Last week for the joint checking, but we have investment accounts I haven't looked at in months. My stomach tightened as I realized how much I had trusted Melissa with our finances. Check them, now. Patricia pushed her laptop across the desk. Let's see what we're dealing with. 20 minutes of increasingly alarming discoveries later, Patricia's expression had hardened. Nathan, your wife has systematically moved over $200,000 from your joint accounts in the past 6 months. Small transfers, gradually increasing. She's been careful. That's almost our entire savings, I said, the betrayal cutting deeper. This changes our approach entirely. Patricia closed her laptop with a decisive click. We need evidence of everything, the affair, the financial transfers. We need to move quickly before more assets disappear. Later that day, I met with Marcus, a private investigator Patricia recommended. His office was above a laundromat with blinds that never seemed to open fully. Financial infidelity often accompanies the other kind, Marcus explained, his voice gravelly from years of cigarettes. I'll need access to your accounts, phone records, anything you can provide. Is this really necessary? I asked, uncomfortable with the intrusion. You want your money back? You want leverage? Marcus leaned forward. Then yes, it's necessary. Derek accompanied me to meet with our bank manager the following day. The manager, Mr. Phillips, had known us for years. Nathan, these transfers were all authorized with proper credentials, Mr. Phillips explained apologetically. There's nothing irregular from the bank's perspective. But that's our retirement savings, I protested. Our future. I understand, but Mrs. Crawford had equal access to the accounts. Mr. Phillips lowered his voice. However, I can provide you with the complete transaction history for your records. That would be helpful, Derek interjected. Very helpful. As we left the bank, my phone rang. It was Rachel again. Nathan, I found something. Emails between Melissa and Robert. They're explicit, and they discuss the divorce strategy. Can you forward them to me? I asked, hope rising for the first time. Already did. Nathan, there's something else. They mention a business opportunity they're investing in together, using your money. Derek gripped my shoulder. Nate, this could be what we need. Rachel, you're putting yourself at risk, I said, genuinely concerned. You were always kind to me, Nathan. Melissa doesn't deserve what she's taking from you. Her voice hardened. Besides, I'm leaving the company. I can't work there knowing what I know. Over the next week, evidence accumulated. Marcus provided photographs of Melissa and Robert together. Bank records showed the pattern of transfers. Rachel supplied emails discussing their relationship and plans. We have enough, Patricia declared during our meeting. More than enough. What's our next move? I asked. Patricia smiled thinly. We prepare our response, and then we arrange a meeting. The conference room in Patricia's office building felt too small for the tension it contained. Melissa sat across from me, her lawyer James Harrington beside her. Robert hadn't been invited to this meeting. Not yet. Thank you all for coming, Patricia began, her voice coolly professional. We've reviewed the divorce filing and are prepared to discuss terms. Melissa wouldn't look at me directly. Her hair was pulled back severely, her expression composed. We believe our initial filing is quite reasonable, Harrington responded. Mrs. Crawford is entitled to equitable distribution of assets acquired during the marriage. Is that what you call it? I spoke for the first time, my voice surprisingly calm. Equitable distribution? Melissa's eyes flickered to mine, then away. Nathan, don't make this difficult. This is already painful enough. Painful, I repeated. For whom exactly? For everyone involved, she snapped, a crack appearing in her composure. These things happen. Marriages end. These things happen, I echoed. Like affairs with your boss, like systematically draining our joint accounts? Harrington straightened. Mr. Crawford, these accusations are inappropriate and unfounded. Are they? Patricia slid a folder across the table. We have documentation of Mrs. Crawford's relationship with Robert Daniels, her supervisor at Westlake Financial. We also have complete records of financial transfers made over the past 6 months. Melissa's face went white. Harrington opened the folder, his expression changing as he scanned the contents. This is an invasion of privacy, Melissa hissed, but her voice trembled. No, this is evidence, I countered. Evidence of infidelity and financial fraud. Nathan, you don't understand. Melissa leaned forward, her tone shifting to something softer, pleading. I was unhappy. You were always so absorbed in your work. Robert and I, it just happened. And the money? Did that just happen too? I was protecting myself, she insisted. Women often end up financially devastated after divorce. So you decided to devastate me first? Preemptively? The calm I'd maintained was slipping. 12 years, Melissa, 12 years, and you couldn't even talk to me. I'm sorry it ended this way, she said, not sounding sorry at all. But what's done is done. We need to move forward. Actually, Patricia interjected, what's done may constitute criminal financial fraud, depending on how the DA views the evidence. Harrington cleared his throat. Perhaps we should take a brief recess to confer. Before we do, I said, reaching into my briefcase, there's something else. I withdrew an envelope and handed it to Harrington. This just arrived yesterday. Harrington opened it, scanning the contents. His face went pale. "What is it?" Melissa demanded, reaching for the papers. "Banking records," I explained as she snatched them from her lawyer's hands. "From Grand Cayman. Apparently Robert has been moving funds offshore. Your investment funds." Melissa's eyes widened in shock. "That's not possible. He wouldn't—" "The same way I wouldn't believe you'd empty our accounts?" I asked quietly. "People surprise you." "This meeting is over," Harrington announced, standing abruptly. "We need to review this new information." As they gathered their things, I added, "Oh, and the FBI has been notified about the potential money laundering. They seemed very interested in Robert's other clients." Melissa froze. "You contacted the FBI? Nathan, you can't be serious." "Dead serious," I replied, "just like I was about our marriage." 3 months later, I sat in a different conference room, this time at the district attorney's office. The prosecutor, Diane Winters, was reviewing my statement again. "And you had no knowledge of these transfers until after the divorce filing?" she confirmed. "None," I replied. "I trusted my wife with our finances." Derek, sitting beside me for moral support, shook his head. "Classic mistake, but who expects their partner to rob them blind?" Diane nodded sympathetically. "The evidence is compelling. Mrs. Crawford's actions appear to constitute financial fraud, and Mr. Daniels' offshore activities have triggered a broader investigation." "Will they face jail time?" Derek asked bluntly. "For Mrs. Crawford, it depends on the judge. The financial fraud charges alone could result in probation or up to 3 years. Diane organized her papers methodically. "Mr. Daniels is facing more serious charges related to patterns of financial misconduct with multiple clients." "And the divorce?" I asked. "Given the circumstances, your attorney has negotiated exceptionally favorable terms. The judge is likely to approve them, especially with the criminal charges pending." Later that evening, Rachel joined Derek and me for dinner. The restaurant was quiet, upscale without being pretentious. "I heard Melissa was fired," Rachel said, sipping her wine. "Robert too, obviously." "The company had no choice once the investigation became public," Derek commented. "Too much liability." "Have you spoken to her?" Rachel asked me carefully. I shook my head. "Not directly. Everything goes through the lawyers now." "She tried to call me," Rachel admitted. "I didn't answer." "You don't owe her anything," Derek said firmly. "Neither of you do." Our conversation was interrupted when Patricia arrived, slightly late but smiling. "Good news," she announced, taking the 4th seat at our table. "The judge approved all terms. The divorce is finalized with full restoration of the misappropriated funds plus damages." "Congratulations," Rachel offered uncertainly. "It's more relief than celebration," I admitted. "But thank you." Patricia raised her water glass. "To justice and to moving forward." We clinked glasses, the sound sharp and clear in the quiet restaurant. "Speaking of moving forward," Derek began cautiously, "that job offer in Chicago." "I'm considering it," I replied. "Fresh start might be good." "You'd be missed," Rachel said softly. "But I understand." "Nothing's decided yet." I managed a small smile. "One step at a time." As dinner progressed, the conversation shifted away from Melissa and the divorce to future possibilities. It felt strange and somewhat liberating to discuss plans that were solely my own. Later, as we were leaving the restaurant, I spotted a familiar figure across the street, Melissa, watching us. Our eyes met briefly before she turned and walked away. "Was that?" Rachel began. "Yes," I said simply. "Do you want to talk to her?" Derek asked, clearly ready to intervene if necessary. "No," I replied, surprising myself with how certain I felt. "There's nothing left to say." 2 weeks later, as I packed my apartment for the move to Chicago, I received a letter from Melissa. For a long moment, I considered throwing it away unopened. Eventually, curiosity won out. It was an apology of sorts, filled with explanations and justifications. The final paragraph asked if we could meet, for closure. I wrote a brief response. The divorce papers provided all the closure I need. That evening, I called Derek. "The Chicago job, I'm taking it." "Good," he said without hesitation. "When do you start?" 3 weeks, enough time to settle things here." "We'll help you move," he promised. "Rachel, too." After we hung up, I stood at my window, looking out at the city where I'd built a life with someone I thought I knew. 12 years of memories, both good and bad. But the papers were signed. The legal battles were concluding. And somewhere in a box of important documents was an envelope, the one that had changed everything when I handed it to a lawyer who thought he had the upper hand. Have you ever wondered how quickly your life can change direction? One moment, you're standing on your doorstep receiving divorce papers. The next, you're packing for a new city, a new beginning, all because you paid attention when things didn't add up, because you found your evidence, because you fought back. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even, it's about getting free.